Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube NFL prediction segment, I'm going to be giving you my 2019 Week 10 NFL picks and analysis. Now, um, first game, I'm going to take Oakland at home over the LA Chargers. Now, Oakland has certainly superseded expectations. Uh, Derek Carr is actually playing pretty good. I mean, he's completing about 71% of his passes. Oakland is actually 3-1 at home this season. They've scored 24 plus or more points in 5 consecutive games. The offense has shown some consistency. You look at the Chargers right now. They have won 4 straight against the Raiders. They've dominated the series in recent time, but the Raiders are playing pretty good right now. Um, Chargers have a short week on the road. They're 2-2 on the road this season. Mediocre road team. The Chargers have not really looked that good. I know they've won 2 straight. They have some swagger, but the Oakland Raiders look to me, they're playing a little bit better right now. I'm going to take the Raiders in this one, a tight one, to win at home. Well, the next game, I'm going to take the Detroit Lions on the road to defeat the Chicago Bears. It's just a simple matter right now that the Detroit Lions, their offense and their passing attack is definitely, I think, a lot better than Chicago. Chicago has, supremely underachieved this season. Detroit's number 3 in passing yards per game. Matt Stafford's number 4 in passing yards for as far as the quarterback scope in the NFL. The wide receiver Jones, I think, may present a matchup problem with the secondary of the Bears. I think he's going to have a good game against the Chicago secondary. Chicago is they're abysmal, 1-3 at home this season. They have really been, really one of the major disappointments in the NFL this season. And the last game they played, it was like it took almost a half for them to get even a first down. The offense has really looked anemic. I think I like Detroit in this one, mainly because of their offense. I'm going to take Detroit on the road to win. Well, the next game, I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens to win on the road against the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't see this being a trap game for them. I think Baltimore is very focused and disciplined now. They defeated New England last week. They flat out annihilated them. I think in this particular game, Baltimore may not have the ravenous defense they had previously. They're definitely good enough to win this one. They're like number 1 in time of possession. They dominated time of possession against New England last week. Cincinnati has lost like 10 consecutive games dating back to last season. Only 9 defensive sacks. They're dead last in total defense, and they're also last in rushing yards allowed per game. I think the Ravens and Jim Lamar Jackson, they're going to run rampant over the Bengals in this particular matchup. I like Baltimore to get this one done on the road. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills to win on the road against the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns really have, again, supremely underachieved, just like the Chicago Bears. Cleveland is in a decline right now. They've lost 4 consecutive games. They just let somebody go recently that was making some profanity-laced statements. I don't know if it was online or through social media or what happened, but the team just in disarray right now. Cleveland has not won a home game this season. 0-3 at home, only like 7 passing touchdowns. Buffalo right now, one of the better defenses in the league. I know they were annihilated by the Eagles. The Eagles may have exploited the Bills' defense to some degree, but I don't think that's going to happen 2 times, in a row or what have you. I think Buffalo right now is 3-0 on the road. They've only allowed like 5 touchdown passes this season, and they are a team right now. They will play their defense is going to be the difference, I believe, in this particular game. So I'm going to take the Bills to win on the road. Now the next game, I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs to win on the road against the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee, again, very enigmatic team. Their defense is really not that bad. They're allowing just about 18 points per game, but they've allowed 38 sacks. I think the Kansas City, their defensive line, their front line is going to get to Tennessee's their quarterback pretty frequently in this game. Kansas City played a very good game last week. They defeated the Minnesota Vikings in a very tough battle, and Kansas City is a flawless 4-0 on the road this season. I think tight end Travis Kelce is going to really caused some major matchup problems with the Tennessee Titans secondary. And right now, Kansas City averaging 28 points per game, number 3 in total offense. I just don't think the Titans are going to be able to really be able to score the amount of points that Kansas City is capable of scoring. So I like Kansas City to win this one. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the Saints at home to win over the Atlanta Falcons. You look at the New Orleans Saints, 4-0 at home this season. They're practically invincible at home. This team, they're a team right now, won 6 consecutive games. They've only allowed 12 sacks, and they have Michael Thomas, who arguably could be the best receiver in the NFL. Right now, and you have the Atlanta Falcons, who just have looked flat out deplorable this season. Lost 6 consecutive games, 0-4 on the road this season, -11 in turnover differential. What's hard to understand about the Falcons is the fact that they're number 1 in passing yards per game, but yet they just can't seem to win. I don't know if it's penalties that are killing them, or their red zone offense might not be very good. Whatever it is, they get the passing yards, they accumulate all these yards, but they just can't seem to win games. Their defense obviously has not been up to par, and I don't think it will be in this game either. So I'm going to take the Saints to win this one at home. Now, the next game, which I believe is basically the total game of the week, I'm going to take the New York Giants to defeat the New York Jets. The Jets are the home team in this one. I don't know if it's by some default system or whatever, but I'm going to take the Giants to win at on the road, mainly because their offense is just better than the Jets right now. The Jets are averaging like 12 points per game. Number 3, they're dead last in total offense. Right now, and they're also dead last in passing yards per game. I mean, the team, like the Browns, is just a team that's in disarray. The Jets are remind me of a dilapidated building that just keeps losing one piece after another. The Giants right now are, at least, I know they got blown out by the Cowboys, but I think they could at least sustain a few more drives than the Jets and have a better, and as far as their offense goes, the Giants are averaging around 18, 19 points per game right now, and the Jets, again, only averaging 12 points per game. Right now, the Giants are number 17 in passing yards per game. Again, the Jets just number 32. So the Giants are at least about the middle, they're around the middle of the pack in terms of passing yards per game. I look at the Giants, I think they're just going to be able to throw the ball a little bit better than the Jets in this particular matchup, gain more yards on offense, especially on the passing end, and it's going to lead to more sustained drives and more points. So I like the Giants to win this one on the road. Now, in the next game, I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win at home over the Arizona Cardinals. Now, Tampa Bay is allowing nearly 32 points per game, but they're averaging about 32 points per game, or 32 points per game. Now, in turn, far as their last 5 games they played, the offense has looked great, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just can't stop anybody. They did everything but beat Seattle last week, and they are capable of playing upper echelon teams and playing them well. They did defeat the LA Rams this season, 55-40. Now, in this particular game, Tampa Bay is 0-4 at home this season. I think they're due to win a game at home. Arizona right now has allowed 24 passing touchdowns. Their secondary has just been atrocious. They only have 2 defensive interceptions. Now, Tampa Bay has a propensity to turn that ball over, but I don't think it's going to be much of an issue in this one against the Arizona Cardinals secondary and their defense. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their offense is better than Arizona. They're averaging almost 29 points per game, while Arizona's averaging about 22 points per game. Arizona has to go on the road in this one. I like Tampa Bay to win at home. Well, the next game, I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts to win at home over the Miami Dolphins. It's just a simple fact that Indianapolis is just, we know that they are much better than Miami right now. Indianapolis has won 9 of their last 12 games dating back to last season. They're a solid home team, 3-1. I think Jacoby Brissett is going to have a solid game in this one. Almost everyone can against the Miami defense. Now, Miami has a little bit of swagger after defeating the Jets last week, but it was against the Jets. Miami is still they're minus 153 in point differential. They're only averaging about 13 points per game, and they're 0-3 on the road this season. They've lost 10 of 11 games dating back to last season. Again, their only win in that span was against the hapless New York Jets, and they're number 31 rushing yards per game. They are a team that just can't really do much of anything, especially on the offensive end. I just don't really see Miami being able to go into Indy and do a lot in that particular game. Miami got their win last week, but that was at home, and it was against the Jets. They're not going to get consecutive wins. I don't think. I don't see them winning. I like the Indianapolis Colts to win at home. Next game, I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers to win at home over the Carolina Panthers. I think last week was just like an aberration or a trap week for the Green Bay Packers. It was a game they should have won. They didn't get the job done. I don't know if they were just complacent or got cocky or what happened, but the offense just didn't seem in sync. And you look at Green Bay, they're 4-1 at home this season. They're also +7 turnover differential. They're a team right now. They have lost. They have not lost consecutive games this season. I don't think it's going to happen this one. Now, Carolina right now, Carolina's still a very good team, even with the backup quarterback. They're 3-1 on the road this season. They have 34 defensive sacks, but I think in this particular game, it's really about redemption for the Packers in Green Bay after what happened last week, after an abysmal performance against the Chargers, going back home. I think Green Bay is a very tough place to play, even despite Carolina being a solid road team. So I'm going to take the Packers to get this one done at home. Now, the next game, I'm going to take the LA Rams to win on the road against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Rams right now, they got a little swagger. They've won 2 consecutive games. Aaron Donald seems to be playing better. They've given up 10 points per game in the last 2 games, 3-1 on the road, and Cooper Kupp is really playing, lights out. He is phenomenal. Pittsburgh has been competitive in all but like 1 game this season. They've won 3 consecutive games, and I give Coach, Mike Tomlin, all the credit in the world for keeping this team intact. Despite whatever turmoil they've gone through and whatever losses they've had to endure in terms of players. This is a guy that was really one of the better coaches in the NFL. Wouldn't be shocked if Pittsburgh pulls us out somehow, but I think the Rams, to me, they're starting to look like that NFC champion form, that they had last season. I think they're starting to get things together. They're starting to play cohesively. The defense is coming around. So I'm going to take the Rams to get this one done on the road, but I think it'll be a competitive, highly contested battle. Next game. Well, this should be one of the better games this week. I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings to win on the road against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Minnesota right now, you're talking about number as far as rushing yards allowed per game, just like number 9 in the NFL. Their running back is sensational. You look at the Minnesota Vikings, they probably should have won last week. They would have had 5 consecutive victories. The Dallas Cowboys did play well last week, but that was against the New York Giants. Minnesota right now just seems to be playing, a little bit, as far as recent time, a little bit better than the Dallas Cowboys. Right now, it's like I in this particular game, I just really have a little bit more faith in Minnesota than I do with the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys did lose to the New York Jets earlier this season, and you look at Dallas, though, they are number 4 rushing yards per game. Running back Ezekiel Elliott, they have him, of course, and with him, it's just going to be about Minnesota being able to contain Ezekiel Elliott. I think they're going to be able to do that. Minnesota's got a little bit better turnover differential than Dallas. Dallas has a little bit more propensity, it seems like, to turn the ball over. And Dallas right now, these 2 teams are very evenly matched. They've given up about the same amount of points per game in terms of their scoring defense, and their pass defense is really very comparable to each other. But I think Minnesota might actually have the better running back as far as this season in this particular battle. And I also like what I like as far as their as far as the run defense goes in this particular game as well. I think Minnesota's a little bit better, their run defense, compared to the Dallas Cowboys run defense in this particular game. And I think that's going to likely be a very big difference in this particular battle. And Adam Thielen, a receiver for the Minnesota Vikings, is likely to be at least close to 100% in this particular game, and that could make another difference in this matchup. So I'm going to take Minnesota to win this one on the road in a highly contested battle. Now, last but not least, I'm going to take the San Francisco 49ers to win this one at home against the Seattle Seahawks. Now, there's a lot of cynics in the league that think that San Francisco may not be the real deal, that they say they haven't played anybody. They did beat the Rams, though, in one game, and they did beat a Carolina Panthers team that was over 500 going into that game, and Panthers still have a winning record. San Francisco now flawless 8-0 on the season. They're perfect at home this season. They've also averaged, they're averaging over 29 points per game. They're number 2 in rushing yards per game right now, and they're plus 133 in point differential. Quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo is 16-2 as a starter. Now, Stephen A. Smith on First Take was kind of, he wouldn't say condemning, but he was really saying that in his own way that maybe Jimmy Garoppolo could be overrated because during a certain period Jimmy Garoppolo was like 26 touchdown passes, 15 interceptions, and he felt maybe that was just rather pedestrian. Well, he does have more touchdown passes than interceptions. I think that's still actually a pretty good ratio. And also, he does have a 16-2 record as a starter. Jimmy Garoppolo is a winner. I see them winning this game, but Seattle right now, they will definitely make this a good battle. Seattle, they're number 2 in total offense. They're like 20. They're averaging about 28 points per game, and they're also have 22 passing touchdowns. You're talking about very good defensive players they have on their team with Bobby Wagner in right. They're in the top 5 in tackles in the NFL right now. But I think what I'm looking at is nationally televised games. San Francisco at home. Seattle expended a lot of energy last week in that overtime game when they scored 40 points against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think it's going to be, I think when you're looking at the energy level, I like what San Francisco is going to have a little bit more than Seattle, and coupled with the other reasons I stated, I'm going to take the 49ers to win this one at home in a tough competitive battle. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube NFL prediction segment, and until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.